Okay, so today we're talking about the anatomy of a kitchen design. What makes a kitchen functional? How do we have a functional kitchen? If you are planning a kitchen renovation in the near future, these are the things that you're going to want to be talking about. Doing this video last minute without any edits, so you're going to have to bear with me on this one. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about the anatomy of a kitchen design. Can you see that? There we go. The anatomy of a kitchen design. How cool is that? And I want you to think about this song for a minute. Head and shoulders, knees and toes. Now that's in your head forever. It's the head and shoulders, knees and toes design theory. Talk to me, Mark. What are you talking about? I want you to be able to design and have a functional kitchen. That's the end goal of this whole channel, is so that you can have a functional kitchen and work in that kitchen with ease. And so the head and shoulders, knees and toes design theory is something that I came up with so that I could talk about how to have a functional kitchen. Here's kind of a more scaled out, anatomically correct version of the head and shoulders, knees and toes pictograph. Maybe I'll sell these someday, but we want to talk about this. So what this means is anything that's over your head, I think this is the no function zone. So if you have to reach for something that's way up high, I think that's a place in your kitchen that you should be avoiding as much as possible. And so when designing a kitchen, try to incorporate the least amount of important things in those areas. So only things should be stored in those areas that are probably less than 5 pounds, don't have the capacity to break your countertop if they fall, and generally aren't things that you're going to be using every single day. So stuff that gets tucked away, you don't need it. So this is the overhead zone. The overhead zone is just the non-functional place in your kitchen that you don't want to have to deal with very often. Now, there are ways, of course, that you can bring the overhead zone down to you, and I would encourage you to investigate those ways as you're designing your kitchen, whether it's through a pull-down unit or even if you have to use some kind of step stool integrated into your kitchen to get up into those areas. I highly recommend that. So, shoulders. Shoulders to waist is kind of the sweet spot in a kitchen design. This is the place where you don't have to do the most amount of bending or lifting, bending, tiptoes. We'll get to that in a minute. It's the spot in your kitchen where everything is workable. It's right there at arm's level. So if you can reach it, if it's at shoulder level, even head level to waist level, this is where the working zone of your kitchen, this is where most of the action happens in your kitchen. You want to make sure that all of the stuff in your kitchen, all the important things in your kitchen happen at this level. And of course, this is pretty intuitive. This is why countertops are at waist level, because it is generally the most comfortable height, but that can be raised or lowered depending on your height and what you need. But think about this zone as being where the most amount of things that are important should be installed or placed or stored. For instance, a microwave. Generally, a microwave is best placed at shoulder to waist level because it's the most accessible. And if you're going to have it in a base cabinet or up above, maybe you want to reconsider that or think about how you're going to use that. And of course, if you're going to have countertop that's raised or lowered, you want to think through those options. So there's lots of things in this level that's very important. This is the sweet spot of kitchen design. Now, I'm not against knees in terms of if you have to bend down a little bit to get into your cabinets. This is what drawers are for, and this is what pullouts are for. However, I am not for getting on your knees to be able to function in your kitchen. If you have to get down on your knees, this is what I call a non-functional kitchen. Big X through that. I don't think that's the way you want to be working in your kitchen. Listen, if you want to say a prayer, you go right ahead and get down on your knees. But other than that, in your kitchen, it's not the place for it. Now, oftentimes in my kitchen, and of course, if you have to get in under a sink cabinet or get in a corner cabinet, we get down on our knees, we're digging around. But there's ways to create a more functional kitchen so that you don't have to do that. And I really encourage you to investigate those ways in your next kitchen design. Of course, the last thing is the toes, which has to do with overhead. If you have to get on your tiptoes in your kitchen, I don't think it's very functional. So stay off your tiptoes, stay off your knees, try to keep everything in the shoulder to waist area of your kitchen so that it is the most functional possible. Now, I have a kitchen checklist that I just put out. It's available for you. There's a link below, check that out, all my fancy artwork. There's a link below. You can check that. It's the best $7 you'll ever spend on your kitchen. I don't know how true that is, but it's not very expensive, but it's packed with a lot of great information that you're going to need in your next kitchen renovation. Some questions you should be answering to get the most out of your design, and then just a checklist of all the things you're going to need to know and need to have organized for your design. So that's my kitchen design theory, the anatomy of a kitchen design. I hope that's a little bit helpful. So when you're thinking about your next renovation, try to think about the head and shoulders, knees and toes design theory, and keep everything in the sweet spot of your kitchen. Of course, this is not always possible, and you need to incorporate things in your kitchen to make them as functional as possible. And so that's why I recommend putting a little bit in your budget, if you can, to allow for you to have accessories that pull out, pull down, pull up, to make life in your kitchen that much easier. The less you have to be on your toes and on your knees, the better you're going to have as an experience overall in your kitchen when you're using it. And listen, you're putting a lot of money into your space, and so you want it to be the most usable for you, get the best return on your investment in the long run. And I think you'll have a great experience in your kitchen if you follow these rules. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like my content. I really appreciate you. Thank you for watching this crazy video. It's unedited, and it is what it is. And I'll tell you why if you want to stick around for just 2 seconds. I got sick this week. I'm jammed full of Tylenol, cold, and sinus, so I can just get through this one thing so I can get some content out to you that I think is important and that you should be checking out. I appreciate you all. Have a great week.